The world tells you to chase happiness. It tells you to buy it, to achieve it, to find it in another person, in a promotion, in a destination. So you run, you chase, you climb, you acquire. You get the job, you buy the car, you find the relationship, you post the picture. And for a moment, maybe it works. A flash of satisfaction, a temporary high. But then, in the quiet moments, in the dead of night when the distractions fade, a familiar hollowness creeps back in. The anxiety, the restlessness, the quiet hum of dissatisfaction that tells you something is still missing. You start to wonder if you're broken, if maybe you're just not built for happiness. But there's a secret that the noise of the modern world has drowned out. A truth that the Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius, writing not for an audience but for himself by candlelight, understood with soul-shattering clarity. He wrote, "The happiness of your life depends upon the quality of your thoughts." Read that again. Not the quality of your job, not the quality of your bank account, not the number of your followers. The quality of your thoughts. This isn't just a nice quote. It is the master key. It suggests that the entire war for peace, for joy, for a life that feels like your own, is not fought out there in the world. It's fought and won in the silent, unseen arena of your own mind. Most people never realize this. They spend their entire lives trying to redecorate the prison cell when the door was never locked. They are at the mercy of every thought that drifts into their mind, every doubt, every fear, every echo of a past hurt, believing it to be true. They live in a mental storm and then wonder why their life feels like a shipwreck. This is about to change. We're going to explore what it means to stop being a passive recipient of your thoughts and start becoming the architect of your inner world. We're going to walk the path of the Stoics, not as a history lesson, but as a practical guide to reclaiming your mind. This isn't about positive thinking or ignoring what's hard. It's about forging a mind so strong, so clear, and so resilient that your happiness is no longer a fragile visitor, but a permanent resident. It's about building an inner citadel that no external chaos can breach. The unexamined mind, a battlefield you call home. Have you ever stopped to actually listen to the narrator in your head? The voice that replays your mistakes, criticizes your decisions, and writes terrifying scripts for the future. For most people, that inner voice runs the show completely unchecked. We wake up and it's already there, whispering about the anxieties of the day. We go to sleep and it's still talking, dissecting every conversation, every awkward moment, every perceived failure. We think this is just thinking, but it's not. It's a form of inner chaos. The psychoanalyst Carl Jung wrote, "Until you make the unconscious conscious, it will direct your life and you will call it fate." This is one of the most powerful truths about the human condition. That feeling of being stuck, of repeating the same patterns, of facing the same heartbreaks, that's not fate. That is your unexamined mind running the same old software over and over again. You get into a new relationship, and the old thoughts of insecurity sabotage it. You get a new opportunity, and the old thoughts of inadequacy talk you out of it. You have a moment of peace, and the old thoughts of anxiety tell you it won't last. This isn't your fault. No one ever taught us how to manage our minds. We're taught how to solve for X, but not how to solve for our own inner turmoil. We are taught the history of the world, but not the history of our own thought patterns. And so, we live as strangers in our own heads, ruled by a tyrant we mistake for ourselves. The thoughts you allow to live in your mind are not harmless. They are chemical instructions. A thought of fear releases cortisol. A thought of gratitude releases dopamine. A thought of resentment keeps your body in a state of low-grade stress. Your thoughts are not just fleeting ideas. They are the architects of your biology, the directors of your emotional state. As Plato once suggested, our reality is a shadow of the world of ideas or forms. On a personal level, the reality of your life is a shadow of the quality of your thoughts. If your mind is a home for resentment, anxiety, and self-criticism, your life will inevitably feel like a place of conflict and lack. Think of your mind like a garden. If you let it go untended, what grows? Weeds. The weeds of doubt, fear, and negativity take root effortlessly. They don't require any work. But if you want to cultivate a garden of peace, clarity, and strength that requires deliberate action, you have to notice the weeds and you have to pull them. You have to choose what seeds you want to plant. Most people's minds are overgrown, untended gardens, and they wonder why they can't find any peace there. The first step isn't to fight the thoughts. Fighting them gives them energy. The first step is to simply notice them, to become the watcher. The first victory, becoming the watcher, not the storm. There is a space between a thought arising and you believing it, a tiny, sacred pause, and in that pause lives your entire freedom. The Stoic philosopher Epictetus, who was born a slave and knew the true meaning of inner freedom, taught that it's not events that disturb us, but our judgments about them. The event is just the event. The thought is just a thought. The judgment, the story you tell yourself about the thought, is what creates the suffering. Someone doesn't text you back, that's the event. The thought that arises might be, they're ignoring me, I did something wrong, I'm not important. That is the story, and that story creates the feeling of rejection and anxiety. But what if you could just notice the thought without becoming it? What if you could see it float by like a cloud in the sky, acknowledging its presence without letting it become the weather? This is the practice of becoming the watcher. It is the foundational skill of all Stoic and mindfulness practices. You are not your thoughts. You are the awareness that is aware of your thoughts. When you can make that distinction, the entire game changes. You stop being a character swept away by the drama of your mind and become the audience, watching it unfold with a calm, detached curiosity. When a thought of "I'm not good enough" appears, instead of spiraling into it, the watcher simply says, "Ah, there is the thought of not being good enough. Interesting." You don't argue with it, you don't suppress it, you just observe it. This simple act of observation strips the thought of its power. A thought only has the power you give it. When you stop feeding it with your belief and attention, it begins to starve. Socrates famously said, "The unexamined life is not worth living." Most people think this means examining the world, but it starts with examining your own mind. It means getting quiet enough to see the patterns, to notice the habitual thoughts that have been running your life on autopilot. You start to see that the anxiety you feel isn't you. It's a pattern of thought you learned. The self-doubt you feel isn't a reflection of your worth. It's a story you've been replaying. This practice isn't easy at first. When you first sit in silence and try to watch your thoughts, the noise can be deafening. It's like walking into a chaotic room you've been avoiding your whole life. All the suppressed fears, the unresolved pains, the anxieties you've been drowning out with distraction, they all show up. This is the moment most people quit. They say, "This isn't working, my mind is too crazy." But that's the whole point. You're finally seeing the chaos for what it is. You're not creating it, you're just becoming aware of it. Aristotle believed that excellence is a habit. Well, the habit of self-awareness is the most important one you can build. Start small. For 5 minutes a day, just sit and watch your mind. Don't judge, don't fix, just watch. When you get lost in thought, gently bring yourself back to the role of the watcher. Every time you do this, you are building a new mental muscle. You are reclaiming territory in your own mind. You are proving to yourself that you are the one in charge, not the fleeting, chaotic noise. This is the first and most important victory. From this place of stillness, you can then begin the work of choosing what you want to build. The architecture of your reality, choosing your building materials. Once you've learned to watch your thoughts, you start to realize something profound. You have a choice. You don't have to believe every thought that shows up. You get to decide which thoughts you build your life with. If your mind is a house, then your thoughts are the building materials. Are you building with rotten wood and cracked bricks, or with solid stone and reinforced steel? The quality of your thoughts is determined by three things: the stories you tell yourself, the questions you ask, and the information you consume. First, the stories. We are all storytellers, and the most important story we tell is the one we tell about ourselves. This story becomes our identity. If your story is, "I'm a victim, life is always hard for me, people always let me down," then your brain will actively look for evidence to prove that story true. You will filter reality through that lens. You will interpret a neutral event as a personal attack. You will see a challenge as proof that the universe is against you. But what if you changed the story? What if your story was, "I am resilient, I learn from every challenge, I am capable of handling whatever comes my way"? Suddenly, the same events take on a different meaning. A challenge is no longer a punishment, it's a training ground. A setback is not a failure, it's feedback. As Seneca wrote, "A gem cannot be polished without friction, nor a man perfected without trials." You cannot change the events of your life, but you can change the narrative you wrap around them. And that changes everything. Second, the questions you ask. The quality of your questions determines the quality of your answers. A low-quality question is, "Why does this always happen to me?" This question assumes victimhood and leads to a dead end. A high-quality question is, "What can I learn from this? What is this situation trying to teach me?" This question assumes agency and opens the door to growth. Instead of asking, "What if I fail?" ask, "What if I succeed?" Instead of asking, "What's wrong with me?" ask, "What's right with me that I can build upon?" Your brain is a loyal servant. It will find the answer to whatever question you ask it. If you ask it to find problems, it will. If you ask it to find opportunities, it will do that too. Direct your focus with powerful, empowering questions. Third, the information you consume. Your mind is shaped by what you feed it. If you spend hours scrolling through social media, consuming a curated highlight reel of other people's lives designed to make you feel inadequate, your thoughts will be of comparison and envy. If you consume a constant diet of fear-mongering news, your thoughts will be of anxiety and helplessness. As Epictetus wisely noted, we must be careful about the company we keep, for we become like them. This applies to your mental company as well. Who are you letting speak into your mind? Are they voices of wisdom, courage, and compassion? Or are they voices of cynicism, fear, and division? Be as intentional with your mental diet as you are with your physical diet. Read books that challenge you. Listen to podcasts that inspire you. Follow people who lift you up, not those who drag you down. Curate your informational environment to support the quality of thought you want to cultivate. You wouldn't eat garbage and expect to be healthy. Don't consume mental garbage and expect to be happy. Building a better mind requires better building materials. The poison of comparison, the thief of joy. One of the fastest ways to degrade the quality of your thoughts is to engage in the game of comparison. In the age of social media, this has become a silent epidemic. We scroll through an endless feed of curated perfection, perfect bodies, perfect vacations, perfect relationships, perfect careers, and we unconsciously hold it up as a mirror to our own messy, imperfect human lives. And in that comparison, our own life will always come up short. The Stoics understood this danger long before the internet. They taught that the path to tranquility comes from focusing on your own path, your own virtues, your own actions. What other people are doing is irrelevant. It is a distraction from the only work that matters, the work you do on yourself. Marcus Aurelius reminded himself, "It never ceases to amaze me. We all love ourselves more than other people, but care more about their opinion than our own." Think about how much mental energy is wasted worrying about what others think. We edit our words, our actions, even our dreams to fit into a mold we think will be approved of by others. We chase a version of success defined by society, not by our own soul, and then wonder why it feels hollow. This need for external validation is a cage. It makes your happiness dependent on something you can never control, the opinions of others. But when you start cultivating a high-quality inner world, that dependency begins to fade. You become your own source of validation. Your sense of worth is no longer up for debate because it's not based on external praise. It's based on internal integrity. It's based on whether you lived up to your own values today. Socrates was once asked why he was not offended when people criticized him. He replied that he was not concerned with their opinion because he was certain of his own character. This is the kind of unshakable inner foundation you can build. When you know who you are, when you are clear on your principles, the praise of others is a nice bonus, but their criticism can't destroy you. You are anchored in something deeper. Breaking free from the poison of comparison requires a conscious choice. It means unfollowing accounts that make you feel less than. It means reminding yourself that what you see online is a performance, not reality. But most importantly, it means turning your attention inward. Instead of comparing your life to someone else's, compare yourself to who you were yesterday. That is the only comparison that matters. Are you a little wiser today, a little kinder, a little more courageous? That is real growth. As Aristotle pointed out, we are what we repeatedly do. Excellence, then, is not an act, but a habit. The habit of focusing on your own progress, however small, is what builds a life of fulfillment. Let them have their perfect pictures. You focus on building a beautiful life, one that feels good on the inside, not just one that looks good on the outside. The happiness that comes from likes is fleeting. The peace that comes from self-acceptance is eternal. The antidote, the practice of a deliberate mind. So how do we actively cultivate these high-quality thoughts? It's not enough to know the problem, we need a practice. Building a happy life is an active process, a daily discipline. It starts with gratitude. This might sound like a cliché, but its power is rooted in neuroscience. Your brain is wired with a negativity bias. It's designed to look for threats to keep you safe. Gratitude is the conscious act of rewiring that bias. It is intentionally directing your focus to what is good, what is working, what you have, rather than what is bad, what is broken, or what you lack. Seneca, one of the wealthiest men in Rome, practiced this by regularly imagining he had lost everything. He called it the premeditation of evils, not to be morbid, but to cultivate a profound appreciation for what he had in the present moment. You don't have to go to that extreme. Simply start your day by naming 3 things you are grateful for. It can be as simple as the warmth of your bed, the taste of your coffee, the fact that you are breathing. This practice, done consistently, shifts your entire mental baseline from lack to abundance. Next, focus relentlessly on what you can control. This is the core teaching of Stoicism, encapsulated in what's known as the dichotomy of control. Some things are up to us and some are not. Up to us are our thoughts, our judgments, our actions. Not up to us are other people's opinions, the weather, the economy, and ultimately, most external events. The Stoics taught that all human suffering comes from trying to control what we cannot, while neglecting what we can. Your flight is delayed. You can't control the weather or the airline. You can control your response. You can choose to rage and fume, making yourself and everyone around you miserable, or you can choose to accept it, pull out a book, and use the time productively. The event is the same. The quality of your thought about the event determines your experience. Every day, you are presented with dozens of opportunities to practice this. Train yourself to constantly ask, is this within my control? If the answer is no, practice letting it go. If the answer is yes, then focus all your energy there. Finally, live with intention. Marcus Aurelius spoke of building an inner citadel, a fortress of the mind that is impervious to external chaos. This citadel is built by living in accordance with your values. Define what matters to you. Is it courage, kindness, integrity, wisdom? Let these values be your compass. Before you make a decision, ask yourself, is this in alignment with the person I want to be? When your actions are aligned with your deepest values, you create a state of inner harmony. You are no longer at war with yourself. You feel a sense of purpose and rightness, even when things are difficult. This is the source of true, unshakable happiness. It is not something the world can give you, and it is not something the world can take away. The ripple effect. Your mind is the world. The work you do on your thoughts is not just for you. The quality of your inner world inevitably spills out and shapes your outer world. A mind that is calm, clear, and compassionate creates a life that reflects those qualities. When you cultivate quality thoughts, your decisions become wiser. You no longer react from a place of fear or insecurity. You respond from a place of clarity and wisdom. You choose the partner who aligns with your values, not the one who fills a void. You choose the career that gives you purpose, not just the one that impresses others. You build a life not by accident, but by design. Your relationships transform. When you are no longer seeking validation from others, you can show up in your relationships with a new kind of freedom and generosity. You listen more deeply because you're not just waiting for your turn to speak. You love more openly because your love is not conditional on being needed. You become a source of peace and stability for the people around you, not a source of drama. Your entire experience of life shifts. The world doesn't change, but your perception of it does. You start to see the beauty in small things. You find joy not just in the peaks, but in the process. You develop a resilience that allows you to face adversity not with dread, but with a quiet confidence. You realize that happiness was never a destination to be reached. It was a way of traveling. This is the ultimate promise of mastering your mind. You don't do it to escape the world. You do it to fully engage with the world from a place of strength, peace, and wisdom. You stop being a leaf blown about by the winds of circumstance and become the tree, rooted deeply in your own being, unshaken by the storm. Your life is speaking to you right now. The quality of your feelings, the quality of your relationships, the quality of your peace, it is all a reflection of the quality of your thoughts. If you want to change your life, don't start by trying to change the world. Start by changing the one thing you have absolute control over, your mind. Tend to your garden. Choose your building materials wisely. Become the watcher. Practice gratitude. Focus on your own path. The happiness of your life truly does depend on the quality of your thoughts. It always has. And the power to choose those thoughts has been within you all along. The question is, will you use it? The work is not easy, but it is the most worthy work you will ever do. Because when you build a beautiful mind, you build a beautiful life. And that is a masterpiece that no one can ever take away from you.